Rev up your engines!
Well, even Toyota's having problems with electric vehicles. They just recalled all their electric vehicles less than 2 months after the launch. It's only one thing. There aren't that many of them. 260 of them are earmarked for the U.S. 10 are earmarked for Canada. Now, nobody actually owns them yet. They haven't even sold them. They haven't been sold to the people, but they see that they've got a software problem already. They're recalling 2,700 of these electric vehicles that they haven't sold to anybody yet. Now, they're telling people not to use them until they fix them, but as they say, all the cars recalled in Japan had yet been delivered to customers. They were meant for test drives and display. So nobody actually bought one or is even driving them yet. That's a problem when they rush these electric vehicles into market. They don't test them right. Even Toyota, the hubs are coming off of them. You never saw that on the other Toyotas. These guys are in too much of a rush to send that electric crap to us, to try us out as lemmings. Oh, they're going to work? Are they going to fall apart? No, thank you. It's not just the safety. I mean, the wheels falling off, right? But it's the whole thing about electric battery vehicles. They might not even be the future. The batteries might be crap. They might use hydrogen fuel cells. Who knows what is going to win the race? It's like back in the day, if you're old enough to remember VHS versus Beta, right? Betamax was better quality. VHS was cheaper. You could fit a whole movie on a VHS, and a Beta would need 2 separate cartridges for one movie. So the VHS won, even though it was a crappier system. So who knows what's going to come out with these electric cars? My advice is don't go out and buy one. Wait quite some time. We might find that the whole thing is a boondoggle and something else will take over, like with Porsche working on the biofuel that sucks carbon dioxide out of the air in South America and then turns that into biofuel using wind and solar power and ocean power somewhere in South America near the ocean so they could use ocean tides for power if they wanted. Maybe we'll be driving the same cars we're driving now on biofuel, and we'll have giant machines that suck the carbon dioxide out of the atmosphere and we reuse it. Who knows what the future's going to be? That's the first one they made to send out, so they're still waiting, and they only made 2,700 of these things, so they're not mass producing them, 240 of them for the United States. They're holding their horses back to see what happens. I think that's a smart move. Ted Driver says, I got a 2019 Civic EX 1.5 turbo, 17,000 miles. Does this year have an oil dilution problem? It's a 1.5 turbo GDI. They can easily get it. Any car can get it. Doesn't matter who makes them, right? That's why they came up with that new GF6 oil. So what you want to do is when you get your oil changed, make sure it says GF6 oil on the cans of oil that you use or that you pay somebody to use. And that it's the same weight. Like if it says use 0W15, use 0W15, whatever the weight, they make a GF6 oil. Now, understand, GF6 is a parameter of oil. It's not a particular company. So there's many companies that make the GF6 oil. But you want to use it in that, and you probably won't have any oil dilution problems at all. They designed it specifically for GDI turbos so that the timing chains don't wear out, so that the injectors don't wear out, so that you don't get oil dilution. It's particularly made for that, and it's on the cans. I got a whole video on it. You can watch that, but just make sure it says GF6. If it doesn't, don't use that oil. Use the higher quality oil. And when it first came out, it was really expensive, and even some people say, I can't find it in an auto parts store. Yeah, forget the auto parts stores. Do like I do. Buy it on Amazon. It's cheaper anyways. Change your own oil. Have at least 2 sets of filters and oil in your garage. So when it's time to change, you can change it. You don't have to worry about looking for something. And if you're like me, use your noggin. Get the oil drain gasket, right? Buy a bag of them. You buy a bag of them on Amazon, they'll cost you 20 cents a piece. You go to an auto parts store, they might not stock it, and they'll want $5 a piece instead of 20 cents. So buy those too, and so you got everything ready. So when you're done, you can get it done, and you don't have to worry about, oh gee, I forgot to get this. Buy it ahead of time from Amazon, eBay, wherever, and then you'll save money and you'll have it ready. And buy 2 sets, so then at least you always have a spare one if you forget. And then when you're down to 0 sets, buy another 2 sets. El Martinez says, I got a 10th generation Accord 2.0 with stains near the exhaust. Is this normal? All cars put a little bit of stain out. When you start a car ice cold, the computer has to automatically richen it so it gets extra gas to start. So you'll always get a little bit dark. Even in a perfectly running car, if you stick your finger in the exhaust pipe and ride it around, you'll see a little black. Even in my Toyotas, I did it the other day on my Matrix, there's a little bit of black, right? I also changed the oil. I just went 6,000 miles driving around. I just changed the oil this morning, and guess what? It hadn't lost one drop of oil. It still was exactly on the dot, on the full mark, after 6,000 miles of driving like a maniac around the East Coast, where people drive like maniacs and then you become like them, because if you don't, they'll weed you out and run into you. So you got to go as fast as them, right? So you'll always get a little bit coming out of a car. That's relatively normal. Ben Sullivan says, got an 08 Honda CRV. It won't crank and it can't jump start. New battery. What else could it be? Well, it's a Honda CRV. I can just about guarantee you, unless you didn't take care of your car and blew the engine, you need a starter. The starters on the Hondas are the weakest part. Honda makes great cars. They make very weak starters, and they go out all the time. So you probably just need another starter. What you can often do is have somebody turn the key on and hold it in the starting position and get a long pole and then whack the starter a couple times. And if it starts to go, you know the starter's gone because you whacked it, and then it tries to work. Almost always a bad starter on those things. That's the weak part. They're not that expensive, but some of them, it's a pain in the butt because you got to pull the part of the intake off, get to it, because Honda engineers got their finger up their butt, and the cars used to take 5 minutes to change a Honda starter. Now it takes hours on some of them because of the design, but it's not that expensive if you do it yourself. MM says, Scotty, should I get a Lexus LC500 2018 with 50,000 miles on it? They're excellent vehicles, but here's the thing. It's a Lexus LC500. It's got a big old V8 engine and a gas hog. It's going to get crappy gas mileage. You're going to pay through the nose probably because prices are insane. If it's only got 50K, you didn't mention the price. I'm sure it's expensive as can be. I'm not a fan of the V8 Lexuses because as they age, they cost a fortune to repair. But I'm talking about ones that have 150, 200, 250,000 miles. A long way from 50,000 miles. But just realize if you're going to keep it for a really long time, you're going to get some expensive repair bills down the line. Like a brake master cylinder assembly might cost $1,800, where for a V6 Lexus, I can get them for $150 because you don't have to buy all this computer crap all together. You can buy just the cylinder. You can't on the 500. You got to buy these whole assemblies. So you're going to spend more money fixing it. Just realize that. Joey says, I'm checking out a 2012 Camry. It shows 175,000 miles. It looks like highway miles. Is it worth it? Drive it. Seems like it runs fine, and that's mileage. But understand one thing. Let's say the guy was a salesman. He was on a highway all the time, right? Highway mileage is equivalent to 10% city driving. So if you drive 100,000 miles going 60 miles an hour on a highway, that's equivalent to 10,000 miles of stop and go city traffic, right? So that's nowhere. And the Camry's going to last a long time. Of course, you know, the bottom line always is, how much are they asking for the thing? You don't want to overpay. And believe you me, soon the prices are going to start coming down. When the recession goes and the interest rates go, the price of cars is going to go. It will happen. Now, who knows when? But don't overpay now. We're at the kind of the high point of used cars now. And it's got basically nowhere to go but down. People are paying more money for a used car than they can buy the same model new. So that's just insanity. It makes no sense. And it can't last much longer, as far as I'm concerned. Warzone Goon says, I got a 2009 Nissan Rogue. It jerks to one side when I give it gas and jerks back when I let go of the pedal. You probably have some problem in the drive shaft. You step on the gas, it jerks to one side. If one side's worn, it's going to jerk there. The obvious thing to do first is to jack the car up in the air, right? Pull on the wheels at 9 o'clock and 3 o'clock. And if it goes clunka clunka, then probably a bad tie rod, inner or outer. If you grab it at 12 o'clock and 6 o'clock and it goes clunka clunka, it's probably the lower ball joint is worn, and that'll make it jerk too. So that's a simple thing that anybody can do. Check both sides, and if you got play, fix the play first. But you do that and there's no play, odds are your drive shaft's starting to wear out, and then it will pull. And pray it's that, because if it's inside the transmission, it's making it jerk on one side because the internal workings of the transmission are wearing out. That's big money, and the Rogues are notorious for having one of the worst automatic transmissions in the world. Those Jatco's piece of crap that Nissan makes. Okay, we got a funny one. Z Sleeping says, Scotty, my girlfriend and I were fooling around the back of the car. How can I remove the stains? Any of those things like OxyClean, they are great at getting rid of stains. I remember ages ago, I was watching a baseball game in Houston, and an ad came on TV, and it was that Resolve, the rug cleaner, And that's basically the same kind of stuff that OxyClean has in. And I got a bottle of that Resolve. My wife used to scream at me all the time because I'd walk in the house in Houston with my greasy shoes, right? And it would stain the carpet. She's staining the carpet. La, 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 la. But I mean, it's so hot in Houston, I'd take my boots on and off every time I go in. I was nuts. And anyways, the house is destroyed now and there's 2 townhomes there. So in the long run, it meant nothing. But she didn't like the stains. So these are grease stains and stuff from working on cars. I sprayed that Resolve all over the place. I don't know if they still make the stuff. I assume they do. And it would take grease stains out of the rug. So I'm sure it'll take any kind of stain out of your vehicle. It really does work quite well. Spray it on, let it soak for 15, 20 minutes. Then you wipe it off with a clean towel. Fiber towel works good because then it soaks all the crud out. Do it a few times. I find that Resolve cleaner or anything that's like the OxyClean will take any kind of stain out. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.